Politics, economy, and so on. To maintain the quality of this show on this evening, we have on backstage given us a great technical support to give all the information and taking questions from our audience is Eder Bota. To present the show with me this evening is Adriano de Souza, Edno de Souza. As always, with the idea of offering the best, this evening would not be different. This evening, we are honored to receive on our AES Sport Legacy channel to participate on Vivência do Sport program. And we have an outstanding professional. He is a Pan American Game champion, a former America holder, 800-meter holder, and 1,800. He's a retired major for the U.S. Air Force, dean of student, head cross country and track and field at Winter Springs High School. A fantastic human being, a friend of mine that have made a difference in the way people see life. It is with a great satisfaction that I introduce to all Octavio Clark. Oki, welcome, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you. Obrigado.
There you go. Before we start, I would like to remind you to support our channel. Please subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, give the like that it is very important. Share on your social media network, invite your friends, family, girlfriend, boyfriend, because there is and they still have the time to watch this wonderful show. Yes. Oki, good evening again. How are you, my friend?
I'm very fine, Zach.
That's great. It is I want to let you know, first of all, thank you. We appreciate you accept our invitation, okay? I want you feel like you are at home. Feel free and feel like home to speak your mind, whatever you think, okay?
Yes.
That's it, Mr. Oki.
Would you like for me to begin with my journey? Hold
on a sec, Art. Hold on a sec, Art. Don't worry about it. Everything here. Okay. Okay. It's just think. Okay. As you know, as you told you, Oki, the idea behind this channel, you create this channel to educate, to inform, to entertain people, in special in Brazil, in South America, creating a muscle mass, critical mass. I'm sorry. To give people great information. So I have here the first question for you. The first question I have for you, we'd like to know who is Mr. Octavio Renier Clark.
Octavius Clark is a simple guy that was born here in Sanford, Florida, in a midwife's house on November the 14th, 1960. It was during that time period where I'm from that African Americans not only could not afford to be born in a hospital, but many of the hospitals were banned for African Americans to be born in because of segregation. So I was born in a midwife's house and raised on my grandparents' 10-acre farm. And it was on that farm that I began to, that was my roots for athletics. Because if I wasn't working on the farm, I was always running.
Wow.
That's great. Thank you.
Well, following this information, Aki, we know that sports is an American thing from young age.
Yes.
Do you remember how young you were when you involved with sports?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, my activities on my grandparents' farm probably, it was like I was involved in sports almost every day. It was the foundation. But as far as organized sports, it probably wasn't until the age of probably 13 when I started playing Pop Warner football. And it was football was the American football was my first love. You know, I wanted to be a running back, but at less than 100 pounds, my future wasn't going to be in football. My senior year in high school, I was only 121 pounds, but I had great endurance and I could outrun most of the other boys. So by the time I became a senior in high school, I was able to qualify for our state championship in 3 events. I was the only boy on the team that qualified for 3 events my senior year.
Wow. Let me ask you one more question. So you said that you were involved with sports since you were very young, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to explain, if you can explain, because in Brazil, we don't have this kind of understanding about sports the way you mentioned here, like, because there's a difference between organized sport and sports. I would like to ask you if you can explain what's the difference.
Well, let's say unorganized sports is when you're playing in the neighborhood, like you guys with soccer. Everybody has you can make a soccer ball in the streets of Sao Paulo or Taguatinga. So for us, unorganized sports is playing football, just picking up a football and running with it. Playing baseball on the baseball field. And organized sports is when you actually pay to join a team, and you have a coach, and that coach helps to organize the competitions for you. But playing in the neighborhood, you know, running away from cars or chasing after cars, you know, that's all unorganized type of sports.
But this process is important to get in a organizing team or varsity team in a high school level or not?
Oh yeah, see, once you get to high school, everything is pretty much free once you get to high school as far as track and field. The most expensive thing is getting a pair of shoes. And from there, if you're good at sports, it can lead to other avenues like scholarships to colleges.
Okay, thank you.
One thing that I like you just said, Aki, you say you pay to play sport. People don't understand this in Brazil. You said you pay to be an organized sport. It's a good point to us to understand. Go ahead,
yeah, because they have the travel teams, right? They call travel teams.
Oh yeah, they have travel baseball teams, travel volleyball teams, and some of those sports are very, very expensive, especially baseball, softball for girls, and volleyball is very, very expensive.
I know that.
Wow. Hey, Aki, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you here to have this conversation with us. And in American society, sports is offered to all of children, even
Yes.
organized or not organized. When you started to play sports, what were the sports even you liked to in practice at the time?
Would I like to impress the coach?
No, no, no. What kind of sports you started practicing and that you liked at the time that you enjoy? You
Oh,
already said the football, but you had so other sports that you practiced, that you liked, that you enjoyed.
well, I started off in football as a 10th grader. I didn't get to play that much because I wasn't a big kid. So I talked to the football coach and I asked him about this sport called cross country. And I said, "Hey, coach, I hear about cross country. What should I do? Should I run cross country next year or come out for football?" And he said, "Aki, I think you should go out for the cross country team." So I went out for the cross country team the very next year, and I ended up being the #1 runner on the team.
Wow.
So of course, with success, you're going to like it. So I began to like running, and I stuck with that.
All right. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Okay, we all know education it is vital to human life. When you
Yeah.
finish your high school, what uh, what were your career plans to have set you have set for yourself in high school? What was your plan? What do you have in mind when you finish high school? What your career, which avenue you set for yourself for the future after high
Well,
school?
I was hoping to get a big time Division 1 scholarship after I finished high school. But those big Division 1 scholarships didn't come to a kid who was running 4:23 in the mile at
Hmm.
1:58 in the 800.
Okay.
So as you know, Zach, in this country, unless you're running 150 or 152 or under 410 for the mile, you're not going to get a big scholarship. So
Yeah.
my next alternative was I always wanted to travel. I always wanted to experience and be around different cultures, because I knew there was a whole big world out there to be discovered. And I wanted to leave my hometown. So I joined the Navy. Yes, that was the first branch of service that I joined. And I joined the Navy, and I was in the Navy for 3 years. And the third year in the Navy, I ran 151.65 because they gave us the opportunity to run, to train while in the military. So I ran 151.65 my last year in the Navy, and I got out and I went to college. I went to junior college and became a three-time national champion in junior college. As a matter of fact, I think the first time I saw you, Zach, as I look back over it, was 1983 in Havana, Cuba.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Barrios games.
Yeah. Barrientos.
Yeah,
Barrientos.
y-
Yes.
yeah. So um, my I was just hoping to just get a scholarship. I had no idea that running would go as far as it did.
So you mean that the motivation that you go to the Navy right after you finish your high school, it was because the opportunity of to go overseas and different countries and track and run, that was the motivation, or there's something else? There was
Well,
something.
it's funny. I joined the Navy to travel, but after I finished with my school and I got stationed up in Bremerton, Washington, which is right outside of Seattle, I only joined the Navy for 3 years.
Got it.
Two and a half of those years I spent in the Navy shipyards with the ship getting repaired. It's like God had a plan for me. That's unusual for a ship to stay at dock for 2.5 years. Most of the time, you get on a ship and it's gone for 9 months. You don't see your family for 9 months. But for 2.5 years, I was there in the docks. Every day I got off from work around 4 o'clock and I went and trained. Every single day I trained.
4 o'clock.
And little did I know that all of the stuff that I was doing was making me stronger. It was making me faster. I had never gone on a 5-mile or 6-mile run before until I got to Bremerton, Washington. And, most sailors, after they get off from work, they hit the bars or they go chase after girls. Well, I was either in the gym or out running. And, by the time I got to my 3rd year, I was running 151, which is a pretty good time.
Fantastic. Water story.
It's incredible because it's sometimes I try to figure out about this because I remember when I had a chance, but in that time it was a worse scenario. You were before. And while you were in college or in your junior college, did you get any scholarship to study when you were promoted to Florida State University? How did you get it there?
Okay, so once I got to junior college, I improved on that 151. I went down by the time I became a sophomore, at the end of my sophomore year, I ran 148.76.
Whoa.
Yeah. So when I ran 148.76, not only was Florida State recruiting me, but Villanova, University of Oklahoma, USC, University of Florida. I had over 50 scholarship offers at that point because everyone wanted a 148 guy. So I went from 158 to 151 to 148.
Wow.
Okay. So I got a full scholarship. Yeah, so I decided to sign with Florida State because it was closer to my family. It was in the state of Florida. And my senior year, I ran 146.19 there. But I had a teammate named Esmeralda Garcia, and she was a triple jumper and she was from Brazil. And at that time, oh man, that was like 1987. I graduated from Florida State, and I had just been following Joaquim and Aguiberto, and I don't think Zachary was on the scene at that time. But let's face it, 1984, it was all Joaquim Cruz. He was the face of Brazil and the face of 800, the future of 800-meter running. So I just wanted to be a part of that training group. So I asked Esmeralda, I said, hey, you got to hook me up with these guys. You got to hook me up with them. So she said, okay, I'll talk to them. So she said she was going to talk to Luis. So in 1987, the Pan American Games came to Indianapolis, and I just so happened to be there as a spectator. So I wrote a letter, and I went over to the Brazilians, and I asked for Luis, and they said that he was out someplace. So I saw, they told me his bag was there because I told him I had a letter for him. I left that letter in his bag, and a couple of days later, he called me, and I wasn't home, but he left a voicemail. And when I got that voicemail, it was one of the happiest moments in my life. So I called him back, and he invited me to come out for the Thanksgiving break. So I came out for Thanksgiving to Eugene. It was raining. I did, of course it was raining. And I did all of the I did all of the calisthenics with the group, and that's when I met Zach and I met everybody. And the next day I could not walk because
I know those drills.
I
The
had
gymnastics.
never
Like Luis
like
said,
that.
gymnastics.
Yes, I had never did anything like that before in my life, and so I couldn't walk. And then the next day, I think we had to do. I think it was 3 sets of 4 of some 200s or something with 30 seconds rest, and so by the time I got back to Tallahassee to get my stuff, I couldn't walk. So on December the 12th, I graduated, and on December the 28th, I moved back. I moved to Eugene.
Wow.
So I know that's a
Right.
I know that's a long story, but
No, it's perfect. Matter of fact, you answered my question, which was the next question. So I don't need to answer. You already answered my question that I have for you regard to that. That's it.
and you know, it was such a sacrifice because I got to Eugene. I had left my family. I had never been to Oregon before. I didn't have a place. I didn't know where I was going to live, and Pedro da Silva became my roommate.
Yep.
Yeah, Pedro. And I didn't have any money, but I was accepted into the group. I slept on the sofa. I ate rice and beans, and on Sundays we'd all go to Luis's house and eat like pigs. And then as we were walking out the door, he would give us our gift. He would give us our gift for that following week. And finally, I would look at that gift and I would say, oh gosh, I can't do this. And
It does the workout. The workout.
And the gift was our workout. And I would say, oh God. And I would lose sleep at night thinking about that training. And finally, Zach and Joaquin told me, stop looking at the workout. They said, stop looking at the workout. Take it one day at a time. And I began to do that, and that helped me to adjust to the labor that Luis put us through.
Okay, I remember that perfectly. Hey, sometime you come to an apartment and say, Zach, man, do you think I'm able to do this tomorrow? Look at this workout. He doesn't give us a break. I said, okay, you're going to be able to do the workout. And plus, okay, for you, it was also a difficult time because of Florida. You never been exposed to much in the rain and the cold. You have the cold, but not the way it is in Eugene all the time. Training, you know what I mean? Especially that hard because you always train at Florida State University on a certain level, and then you come back with us. I remember you say, do you need to train? There is no indoor here. I said, no indoor in Eugene. No indoors in Eugene.
But
go ahead, Piano.
No, but okay. Let me ask you a question first. So, so I want to understand, because sometimes we used to talk to Zeka, and it's really hard. I know that training with Luis, it was hard, but yes. I would like you explain to us how hard was for you to make the adjustment, because you were running like 148. So
yeah.
And then to make the in 146. So from them to run better than that and train with Luis, how hard was it?
Well, you know, it was extremely hard. But I wanted to show Luis that I was not the soft American. Okay? And I saw that if Zach was doing it, if Joaquin was doing it, and it was making them better, so why not I stay there and go through the same suffering and sacrifice that they're going through. And at least, you know, I'm here in my country. These guys had to travel a whole continent away to get here, and they're far away from their families and their comfortable environment and their culture, you know. So if they could do it, why can't I? But Luis's
Wow.
workout, it was the most difficult thing that I'd ever done in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, all right. Adriano, I
But you
think
know, it made me better. It made me better, and I am now not only the dean of students, but I'm the head cross country coach and head track coach, and I've been able to use some of the things that I've learned with Louise, and I've gained a lot of success. We've won 2 state championships in cross country. I have a young lady here now who's ranked like she's number one in the state of Florida in the 1600 and 3200. She's ranked number 9 nationally
wow.
in the 3200, and she's being recruited by Oregon, Stanford, um, um, North Carolina State, North Carolina, Colorado. You know, all of the big schools are, and she's only a junior. She's going into her senior year, and all of this success has been with the things that I've learned from Luis, and been able to adjust them, because there's no way I would put high school kids through what we went through, but I've been able to make my own little special adjustments, and we've become successful.
Oh, this
Oh
is
man,
awesome. Awesome.
I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
that from you because, well, we used to talk to Zeka, like I told you, and it's really hard to tell to the new generation uh, to explain that to get there, you have to work hard, you have to dedicate yourself and your time, like you told us. Uh,
Yeah.
Not everybody think like you thought at that time because you realize that those guys came from far from their family. They were away. They were in a different country, and even in like that, they were training hard. They were dedicating. But I know sometimes it's hard to some athletes to do this kind of adjustments. You know what I mean? But
Right.
you did, you did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it was quite rewarding, you know, because from a kid from a little, well, like I said, I grew up on my grandparents' farm. Um, in high school, if someone would have mentioned Bratislava, Czechoslovakia, I wouldn't have been able to tell you where it's located. If someone would have told me that one day I would be competing in Rome, or I would be in Viareggio, Italy, or Vigo, Spain, or San Sebastian, Spain, I had never even heard of those places. But because of the opportunity of running and training with Luis, I was able to do that. I saw the great ruins of Athens, Greece. I set the American record in Athens, Greece, um, in the 800, to become the first American to run under 146 in the 800. So I mean, I, I'm glad that I made the sacrifice to move out of Tallahassee, because I wouldn't have been given those opportunities if I would have stayed at home. No way.
Okay, so Aki, during the period that you trained with Luis Oliveira, you did your PRs in the 800 and you broke the American record in the 800 meters and 1,000 meters indoor, right?
Yeah, right.
In your opinion, what were the reasons that training with Luis made you have great results, performances, in your career?
Well, first of all, Luis had at that time he had 3 guys who had run under 144. Okay, he
Wow.
he had
Not only
he
one,
had
you had
Joaquin.
three.
He had Joaquin who had run under 142. He had Jose Barbosa, who had run under 144, and you had the 1980 fourth placer in the Olympic Games, Agilberto Guimarães, who had also run 143. You know, so to be in that environment, some of that have to rub off on you. Some of that magic dust has to rub off on you, and just to be able to go into a race like in Zurich, Switzerland, you go there, and Luis's reputation is on the line. So it's like, man, I gotta run good. I'm one of Luis's boys. You know, so we took a lot of pride in that.
Oh yeah, it's like the if you want to be good, you gotta be with the good, the best. You gotta be there. You gotta live in the environment with them.
Right. You gotta live it. You gotta live it and be right there with them. Like if you're a 10,000 meter guy or you're a marathon guy, go to Ethiopia. You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, Luis is, you know, and still is. He's one of the greatest fathers of middle distance running that the world have seen. I mean, he's literally a genius for those events.
Wow, it's so important, but we will get there. But right now, okay, I want to know one thing because when you are outside of your country, sometimes you have a different view or a different perspective of the country, of the culture, of everything.
Mhm.
But the world of track and field knows that U.S. Olympics trials is very important to all U.S. athletes. I think that
Yeah.
is the most important events for track and field athletes in the United States. In your
Right.
opinion, how important is the Pan American Games in which you were champion in 1991 in Havana, Cuba?
The Pan American Games was extremely important for me because, like a lot of the guys, well, the three guys who went to the World Championships that year, they didn't run well at the World Championships. Okay, that was 1991. I don't think we had an American to even make the final. But I went to the Pan American Games, which is against all of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, and I won the gold medal. So I can actually say I'm a Pan American Games gold medalist for the rest of my life.
Wow. But how do you see the Pan American Games right now? Because at that time you had this kind of athletes running over there, a lot of competitions, but right now you see the trials and you see the Pan American. How is the difference that you can see on this?
Well, during that time period, the the trials was the trials and the Pan American Games weren't on the same year. So during that time, of course, the U.S. Olympic trials is the ultimate because you're trying to be in the top three. You know, for the 800 and 1500 and all the other above distance races, you only the top three go. Unlike in the 100 and the 400, where they take six, sometimes eight guys. That once you make the final, you're considered an Olympian. So our U.S. Olympic trials is very, very important. You know, to be able to claim the title of Olympian, especially U.S. Olympian, that means a lot.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's right, Aki. Aki, I know in 2005 we were served in the Iraq War, correct?
Yes.
In which position did you rank at that time in Navy? Do you remember that?
The first time I went to Iraq, I was a captain.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and I
What were,
went there. I was there from uh, September 2005 to February 2006.
Mhm. What were your duties during the war, or what were your experiences you learned from it?
Um, I was in charge of what they called the at that time the Predator aircraft.
Hmm.
That's like I would say a remote control type plane that is actually launched in Nevada. They
Uh-huh.
launch it in Nevada. Once it gets in the air, then we take control of it in Iraq. And I was kind of responsible for all of the maintenance that took place on that particular aircraft.
Wow. So can you tell us what the experience you learned from it to be in that kind of environment? Because not a lot of people, okay, that, we all heard about war, but it's to
You
be
were
in a
there.
war.
You
You were
were
there. I
there.
mean, can you share with the
Yeah.
audience what the experience is? Because it's about educating. You were a guy that you were not athlete, an educator. You play a lot of hats. You have a lot of important roles, and that's why I want to extract from you to educate our people. How can you wear all those hats and still be where you were today, humble man, coming here to talk to us? Please explain all the what you learned from it.
Well, I tell you one thing, Zach. If you go to war and atheists, especially a war like Iraq and Afghanistan, if you go there, you may go there as an atheist, but you won't come back as an atheist because you can feel the presence of God from every bomb that's dropped near you, or any mortar or rocket or bullet that goes through your trailer when you're sleeping at night and don't hit you. It brought me to be much closer to God, and it allowed me to look at life differently. It made you appreciate life more. Made you appreciate your family more, because there was many times that you wouldn't think that you would see them again, depending on the situation or depending on the day. Um, and it made me more of a leader of people, because they depended on me as an officer to make sure that they stayed out of harm's way. It made me a better protector of life. And as that leader and as that officer, I was given the responsibility to not only to um, keep them safe, but to get the job done, whatever it took to get the job done.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Adriano, you
No,
next.
no, I know, Waki, you explained a little bit, but the 80s and the different of mindset and things like that. But I would like to know if you can tell us what were the difference between the Iraq and Iran war? Can you tell us?
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah,
Iran.
Iran.
Oh, I was never in Iran. I was in
All
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay,
so
so
okay.
Okay,
So in
so
that case, do that.
okay, so Iraq, I was more inside the wire, as they would call it. I didn't have to really leave the base to confront the enemy. I sent
Mhm.
weapons outside the base to take care of the enemy. But in
Okay.
Afghanistan, I was actually on the helicopters going through villages, or going to pick up Marines who had been shot and hurt up. Um,
Ooh.
I would make sure that the helicopters was loaded with the right stuff, equipment, and sometimes those helicopters would come back and they would be full of blood uh, from whatever soldier or marine that the pilots had to go out and pick up. And sometimes it was so bad that my my men, who were the maintainers or the maintenance guys who did all of the repairs on the helicopters, they couldn't clean the blood out
Wow.
because it was so hard. because you knew that someone had died in that aircraft. So I would have to go out myself and as an officer and clean it out.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the difference. That's the difference between Afghanistan and Iraq. Afghanistan, I was right there in the fire. Wherever the Marines went, we had to go with them. And I'm Air Force, you know, but sometime I would volunteer for things because I knew that my men were too stressed out. They had been through enough. So I took it upon myself to give them a break, and I'd go out.
Wow.
And you know, it wears on you guys. It really wears on you. You know, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, sleep apnea. It was really rough when I first got back, but I've adjusted pretty well now.
Wow.
That's nice.
That's
That's
so
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So
And,
impressive.
and you know, guys, after I think, and I need to add this. After I finished competing, you know, I went to 3 Olympic trials: 1984, 1988, 1992. After 1992, and having spent those years with my Brazilian brothers and traveling all over the world with them and Louise, I couldn't just go cold turkey, you know, because you're used to competing and being in a stadium in Stockholm, Sweden, Helsinki, Finland, Sao Paulo, and the roaring of the crowd and people cheering for you, kids coming up to you with your picture, asking for your autograph. Okay, at the end of such a career as that, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just come back and now be just that normal guy? No, I still had that adrenaline flowing. I needed something else to do that was going to bring me that same level of success, that same roaring of the crowd in Zurich, Switzerland, where there's 70,000 people. So I joined the military. And in the military, as an officer, I found that which was missing, you know, after I had left Zach and those, you know, and it gave me that same adrenaline rush. It gave me that same adrenaline rush. And I'm telling you, when people are shooting at you, you get an adrenaline rush.
Well, Iwaki, now you were telling us something that probably is a brand new for us, including and for our audience, because one thing is to watch or to be noticed by TV or newspaper or any article about the war, but you were in there. But changing a little bit, let me ask you a question. It's a curious question because you went to the Navy and you were in the war, in 2 wars, Afghanistan and Iraq. And we know that in the military, they have the SEALs and Mariners.
Yeah.
What is the toughest, training with Luis or with the SEALs or Mariners?
Let me tell you something, man. There's no SEAL that can do Louise's workout. You hear me? There's no Green Beret. There's no Army Ranger. There's no U.S. Marine that could do Louise's workouts.
Oh my goodness!
Now I know. Now I know what you're saying, Zeka. Now I know.
Okay. All right, Aki. All right.
Oh gosh.
Aki,
Hey, Yoki.
Yeah.
Hey, Yoki, let me tell you one thing. Maybe you guys need to reunite together. Probably we will try to put all of you guys together. And
Yes.
you 4 or 5 guys, you must sing Only the Strong Survive.
Strong, only the strong survive. I guess we're stronger.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Aki, Aki, you are teacher now. You are principal and coach cross country and track. Can you explain what do you do in each of one, as what you are doing is as a dean, dean of school and a teacher. We're
Okay.
teacher to coach track and field. Can you explain for us that? Because it's very important to know
Yeah.
beyond that
Um.
you
As,
still
as,
educated because that's what our channel is about, education. And so you involved to that and
yeah.
the development of people.
Okay. So, um, in 1997, I started as a geography and history teacher at Winter Springs High School. Okay. Now, geography, gosh, that's an easy subject because I've been all over the world. Okay. And a history teacher that had actually traveled to these places. So I can tell you firsthand about London or or
Rome,
Switzerland. Yeah, Rome, because I've seen the Colosseum.
Greece.
I've been
Yeah.
there. And so I was a teacher for about 5 years. And then my principal came to me and asked me to become the dean of students. Now, the dean of students is the guy that's in charge of all of the discipline at school. Okay, so that's what I was in charge of. I was in charge. I still am, and this is my 25th year, and I serve as the dean of students. Not only that, I'm the head boys and girls track coach and the head boys and girls cross country coach.
Okay,
All right.
let me tell you one thing. There is two guys over here that they are sending a hello for you. Solange Cordero and Edgar Oliveira saying hello for you. They are watching you now and laughing a lot.
Oh wow! Tell them I said hello.
Oh, you can say for them now.
Hello, guy, Edgar. Michelle.
Yeah. And Solanginha.
Okay, okay. So, okay,
Yes.
I will make a like a personal question for you right now. So,
Yes.
you have two daughters, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so they were involved in the sports or not?
Oh yeah, they were involved in sports. I have a daughter now that's at San Diego State with Zach's niece. They go to
Oh,
college. They're on the track team together. That's amazing, isn't it?
yes, it is.
It's a small world. You travel all around the world and you have all the people getting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now
Nice.
you guys know the trials are on.
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah, uh, that's a sweet thing, just to after we been together for a long time and support on another, being with same team and same coach and share
Yeah.
happiness, share the toughness as well, and uh, and then the end, I have my niece, it's Elba, my young sister, daughter,
Yes.
and your daughter, young daughter, going to the same college in the same team and defend the same school. I guess it was meant to be because since me and you could not defend the same country, at least my niece and your daughter, they together can defend the same school. That's cool.
Exactly.
That's nice.
Exactly.
But okay, can you tell to our audience how much the track and field helping you in your military career?
Oh wow. Well, I can tell you for a fact that especially as a young guy going into the in the Navy as a teenager, it got me out of a lot of duties, because they allowed me to train for 5 months out of the year. All I did was train. So that's one aspect of it. I didn't have to serve I didn't have to stand any duties. I didn't even have to stay on the ship. They sent me off to a college and I lived in the dorms and I trained for 5 months out of the year. Yeah. So then, after I graduated from college and after I finished competing, I had a degree now, and I went back I went in the Air Force, which was my second branch of service, and I went in as an officer.
Wow, it's so interesting because I was finishing my high school in Montana, and I had the idea, but it was in the end of 80s, beginning of 90s, and I had the idea, and I said I was trying to be a little bit smart, and I said, okay, I'm going to the Army. I can spend 2 years over there, and I can come back and get my university, and I'll be graduating, and I'll have some money on my pocket to live in forever in a good life. So calm down. Was my strategy. But I was completely wrong because in the 90s, it started the war of in the Gulf.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, no, I can't because I'll be in the front line and I'm not a mariner. I'm not a runner. I never trained with Luis.
No, that
change your
wouldn't work
mind.
out good.
But I think you can explain, if you can, a little bit this, because it's one of the way that we can change our lives. Sometimes going to the military to study, to get an education, to improve in your education or something like that. If you can explain to our audience, it would be fantastic. Because I had this experience and I gave up. At the first moment that I heard about the war, I gave up.
Well, if you're gonna go in, if you're gonna go in the military, I would prefer to go in as a leader and get paid for it. And going in as an officer was the best way for me to go in when I went in the Air Force. I enjoyed being a leader of men and women, and I would do it all over again if I could.
All
right.
It's so incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. Back in the days when you were an athlete, did not exist the social media like today.
Oh no.
We would like to know, when I say we, the audience would like to know from you as an educator, how do you see the influence of social media on the life of the children, the youth, and the young adults in nowadays? They spend a lot of time because they spend a lot of times promoting themselves. How do you see this distraction on the academic development?
As an educator in the school system, the social media and the cell phone period is destroying education. It's completely destroying education because you can walk in any classroom and at least 80 to 90% of the kids are on their cell phone. They're FaceTiming. They're doing TikTok. They're on all of these
Instagram.
Different social media sites, and they're not paying attention to what the teacher is saying. If they're in a math class, there's about 25 to 30 different apps that they can use on their cell phone to solve a simple algebraic equation. Gone are the days where you can use paper and pencil to solve a problem. They just take that particular problem and they put it into that app and it solves them for them. That's crazy. So I think I think the one thing that I do miss, I wish that would have had better access to taking pictures of some of our races. There's our races that we did in certain parts of the world that no one would never see because there's no photos of it. Like now you can take out your phone and take a picture or video an entire 800-meter race. And we didn't have that back then. So that's one thing. But as far as in the school system, I think the cell phone has destroyed education in America.
And about in the sport, they have some that the social media also have influence on the sport as well. In that way, the same way they have on the education.
Well, some of these kids I see, they make a fool out of themselves on social media. They post up any and everything. And it's more for a show to see how many different likes that they can get, instead of going out there taking care of business, being that athlete, a respectable athlete. They've gotten away from that.
Yeah. Well, because I remember back in the day, Walkie, we need to train like with Luis for 6-7 months in order to show up in the media. When you decide to show up, you gotta run a result, otherwise they don't print nothing.
Right.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah, this is true. You need to perform, otherwise you won't be on newspaper. And today, in the sport, anyone can be there. When anyone get a phone and say, "Oh yeah, I'm training, I'm doing this, I'm buffed. I look at my apps." You know what I mean? We didn't have none of that.
Right.
But okay, you said something that is so curious and important, because you said about education. This channel, the reason of this channel is completely for education. But what you can see in the near future with this generation, that they don't care about to learn in a real way because they have apps to solve some problems, how they will behave in the near future or in the short time of period to deal with some issues that we have in the life or in the days, or what you can tell about this?
Well, I also have a buddy, close friend. He's a professor at my old school, Florida State, and he said that these kids, they come to college so not prepared. He said they can't even write a simple paragraph, because they've cheated their way all the way through high school. They take pictures of quizzes, they take pictures of exams, and then they send that to their buddy that's going to be taking the test the next period. You would think that, well, maybe the teacher should pay better attention to what's going on in their classroom. And they should, but these kids get away with it. We always say that by the third period of the day, all education is done. All educating of the students is done.
Wow.
Because everybody got the answer to the homework.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. We are in trouble. We are in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
No. We were in trouble. Let's see what's gonna happen in the near future, man. Because damn.
Yeah.
Well, okay. For the 6th
Yes,
year,
sir.
you were living with the Brazilian athletes. What did you learn from the Brazilians' friendship? What your greatest memory of being part of this special time with the Brazilians?
It's the year it now is 2021.
Yeah.
I met these guys in 1987, December 1987.
Okay.
A friendship with a Brazilian is a friendship for life.
Damn.
Oh.
It's not something fake. If they say that they love you and that you're their friend, that's it. That's it, man. It's not fake.
Well, this is awesome to listen, because sometimes we in Brazil or in Latin America, we don't put too much value on this because it's a natural sometimes for us. But what you were saying now is giving us a little high self-esteem to admire ourselves as a people.
And
Yeah.
it's deep. It's deep. It's
Yeah.
It's it, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And how was the moment living together? What you learned, especially with Luis? Because I have another question. Because Luis, do you said that he is a genius of this event on a tracking field? Do you can you tell us if one guy like Luis, if he were a U.S. citizen, he was pushed out from the system or the tracking field system of your country?
What will he be doing? What now?
If Luis were a U.S. citizen, shit,
Yeah.
do you think that United States would put him out of the system?
No way. No way. If he was if Luis was an American, he'd have some huge fat contract with all type of medical benefits. He wouldn't have to be living in a foreign country so he don't die. They would treasure this guy, because he would be producing for his country great athletes. He would be putting out great athletes in the Olympic Games and the World Championships and all these other in between. He would be a hero here. That's what would happen if he was here, if he was an American citizen.
Well, I made this question because unfortunately our country, they don't put any value on guys like him. Because sometimes they called him as a tough guy because you said, oh, his training is extremely, no mariners, no SEALs can train this, but the results is always positive in the top of the world. And I'm telling this because it's a shame for me, and I guess for everybody, to see the situation, how it's treated by our country. And
Yes.
we need to educate our people to have much more respect for someone who is really, really good. And I appreciate what you're saying about him. If you have something more to tell, please, is the time.
Shame on them that they've allowed such a treasure to leave the heart of Brazil, because he had to leave and go to a Middle Eastern country to help that country out. And if he was back home, he probably would be dead by now.
Yep.
He probably would be dead. So I would say shame on Brazil for letting this valuable treasure get away from them.
Yeah, the problem is not only him, man. It's like normal. People like him to get this kind of treatment. Even like Jose. Jose was huge, but he doesn't have the knowledge, man. With people, they don't talk about him, about his history. Not only Jose, about Zeca, not Agilberto, Joaquin. Those kind of guys could be our heroes. Okay, they do with the soccer players, but with the other athletes, so they must have the same value, because what they did for the country is huge, the same way that the soccer players did. So
right.
Or sometimes a little bit more than the soccers.
yes,
because with the investments that they have, they did more.
I agree.
Well, okay, it's very hard. Like I want to appreciate what you said about Luis, because if I say okay, it might sound
A bias.
cliche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might sound.
Well, it came from me, and I'm proud to say it, because I owe my running career to this man, and he was like not only my coach, but he was like a father when I came up there to train. And I love Luis de Oliveira from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, man. I'm almost crying here. Fuck.
Well,
Yeah.
Rocky,
we appreciate it because it's really deep what you're saying, and we are trying to rescue this and show to our audience, to our people, what we had sometimes in our hand, and sometimes we just get away, take it away.
Yeah.
Like a nothing. It doesn't make any sense what we are doing, because just like you are a teacher in your country, you are a dean of school students, you are a principal, but Jose is not serving his country. Joaquin is serving United States.
I know.
And none of them are working to help the Brazilian athletes. They are out of the system.
Wow.
I'll tell you a little bit of my story. So I played baseball on the minor league level, and I would really like to help my country to develop baseball, but I can't. That's why I'm here in the United States. It's the same.
Oh, wow.
So, it's the same. That's the same problem. So people in Brazil, I don't know why. I don't know the reason why they treat people like us as a nobody.
And it's such a big country with so much potential. What do your flags say?
My what?
ordem e progresso. Our flag say ordem e progresso.
And what does that mean?
Would mean be in order and progress to the future, but it never come.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the words of your flag, and it's a country the size of the continental United States. So that there's so much value there.
Well, Rocky, I know that, you know that, and Adriano and Edno and people that are here, I know that some people that are watching us there, like Edgar, Solangian, and other ones, know that, Cruz know that. But it's so little for people to understand the concept, how great our country is, that like important people, like you guys said, don't have no value. I think I did the best I could. I don't need to consider myself a hero. I think I am just someone that Lord gave me a talent, and I developed in the best ability that I had. And
Yeah.
but the sad thing about all this, Aki, is like I said, I help people here in our state. I go to school, to university, and talk and tell them, share my knowledge. But neither me, neither Cruz or Agilberto is back there, or even Edgar is back there, Woodson. A lot of kids are back there. They cannot do that. They don't see us with the same value. Sometime one day I asked Cruz, I said, Joaquim, do you have nothing to teach Brazilians? You don't have nothing to teach for the track and field world in Brazil?
Exactly. He already said that he took a little knowledge what he learned from Luis, and he put the girl to be the number one in the state.
The number one in his state. She is the top 10 in America.
Top 10 in American. And what happened? And Joaquin is working for the Paralympic Committee and in Brazil.
Maybe we are wrong, they are right. So,
yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
This
wow.
is hard.
Okay. I know. Unfortunately, times fly when you are having good conversation or when you're having fun,
Yeah.
and unfortunately you must go. But
Yes.
before you go, Aki, I would like you to give your final thoughts. Please give to us and our audience that sit down here watching you your final thoughts, please.
Well, first of all, it's been a a pleasure always speaking with my brother Zakinia, and to be a part of this forum, gentlemen. I am honored to for you guys even considering me, to be a part of this, and it's something that's going to grow and continue, and I'm always here. And again, I'm just very appreciative of the professional setup of everything. Hey guys, it's been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We
Thank you so
at
much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
okay. Okay.
For having
We
us.
okay. We at the AES Sports Legacy channel appreciate the care and the participation of our viewers. We want to thank you, Aki, to accept our invitation to come here and participate with us in the Vivência do Esporte program. We'd like
Yes.
also to thank you, our supporters, TBF Consultoria, VMAX Suplemento, the cultural support of Casa 123, IP Afro, and the CBO or CBO channel that broadcast our program to Oceania, Asia, East Europe, part of Africa continent, part of the Western Europe, and the Caribbean.
Yes.
Always with the goal to inform, educate, debate, to encourage and entertain. The Vivência do Esporte program wish everyone an excellent night and a week of full achievement and good reflection on everything that presented here tonight. But don't be sad. Next Monday, we'll be here back again with another great guest. Please subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, give the like, that is very important, and follow us on the social media network. Invite your friend, go there in the video description and access our channel. Again, one more time, I want to wish good night and have a great week and see you all next Monday. Aki, thank you very much, my friend.
Hello, it's freezing.
Hello, Aki. Okay.
Acho que